This is the story of a boy named Rudd, who really dislikes his older brother. Rudd always has to chase after him, and just when he thinks he's caught up, his big brother goes even further ahead. Rudd despises the half-hearted consideration his brother gives him just because they're related by blood. That's what he thought back then, but he realizes he was wrong when his brother dies because of him. Rudd regrets hating his only family. He looked up to his brother and wanted to stand beside him as equals, but his brother died while protecting him. His brother keeps moving forward, leaving Rudd behind. In the end, only Rudd survives. Afterward, Rudd hides beneath a tree, but the dragons, drawn by the scent of blood, fly overhead. He's lost one arm and a leg, so he can't run. He thinks he'll take a few of those dragons down with him to the other world. Suddenly a bright light flashes, and the Dragon King appears before him. Judging by his aura and scent, he's definitely the king of the dragon race. However, Rudd can't sense any power from this person. It's like looking at a mirage, a vague presence. After a while, the Dragon King asks Rudd if he's the only one left. Rudd's instincts scream that this man is more dangerous than the 7 horrible Dragon Kings. He must kill him. Rudd has one chance to close the distance and attack with all he has. He steps forward and strikes with his sword, cutting the Dragon King's head in two, just as his vision is blocked by a white flash of light. Then, he finds himself at the Academy's ceremony day, thinking he's gone back in time. The story starts on the Dragon Annihilation Academy's introduction day. The student president tells the first-year students that they are dragon slayers, meant to kill dragons and protect innocent lives. It doesn't matter if it's duty or entertainment. Suddenly another flash of light, and Rudd opens his eyes to the entrance ceremony day once more. He remembers a battle with dragons on Earth where everyone died. Rudd had killed many dragons himself, but there's no magic spell for time travel. At first he doesn't understand what's happening, but he realizes he can use this time as an opportunity. This time he'll kill all the dragons. He is walking on the stairs, talking to himself, when a girl calls him from behind. She asks if he is sick. He remembers her from the ceremony and calls her by her name, Henith Harpula. But she's surprised and asks how he knows her name. Rudd quickly makes an excuse, saying she's a top entrant, so he knows her. She's been wondering about his odd behaviour, talking to himself and cursing, so she asks if he has a mental illness or something. Rudd smiles at her comment, thinking she's as rude as always. But Henith doesn't like his smile and calls him a pervert who enjoys being cursed at. Just then, they hear an announcement that the entrance ceremony is about to begin. Rudd reflects on how everything started after the last ceremony. Henith asks for his name, and he tells her he's Rudd Donatos from a place called Disole on the outskirts of the country. She offers to teach him about the people on the second floor, who are all guild leaders of famous guilds. They're looking for promising talents to keep an eye on. Rudd thinks he knows them well, and speculates on their future achievements, and how they will eventually meet their demise. Henith mentions that she'll be eligible to apply for a guild once she reaches the 3rd year. It's already been decided for her because the Midsummer Flames Guild leader, Liana, is her role model. The White Flames Empress, Leona Chernica, is a top-ranking fire magician who uses pure white flames. Rudd recalls that he too perished at the hands of the Dragon King, and that Henith eventually became the next Midsummer Flames Guild leader. But she also sacrificed her life seeking revenge for her seniors. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What's the worst manhwa you've read? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now back to the recap. Suddenly there's an announcement for Henith to step forward to read her elf. Rudd realizes that the situation is unfolding just as he remembered it. He knows that after this, his brother will come, the Aritum Student Council President, Aesir Donatos, the unparalleled genius and indomitable warrior. He's Rudd's one and only family. However, Rudd is shocked to see another student stepping forward as the student body president, Jeremy Duville. This shocks him because he remembers his brother being the president, and Jeremy was his closest friend. He rushes over to Jeremy, filled with curiosity, and asks him what he's doing there and where Aesir is. But his surprise grows when Jeremy says he's never heard of someone named Aesir Dinardos. A dark thought crosses Rudd's mind. Maybe Aesir doesn't exist in this world. The entrance ceremony wraps up, and the newcomers are told to head to their assigned classrooms. As Rudd walks, he can't shake the worry about his brother. He thinks about all the possibilities. What if Aesir changed his mind and didn't come here? Or worse, what if he's stuck somewhere for a mysterious reason? Suddenly Henith comes up to him, noticing he's deep in thought. She asks what's bothering him, and he mentions that he's searching for someone. She suggests he contact the Information Guild or go to the library to get a list of students. Rudd thinks it's a great idea and heads towards the library with Henith following him. She's amazed by the library's beauty, something she's always wanted to see. For Rudd, it's his first time here, and he starts looking for the record book. Henneth's eyes light up when she sees a vast collection of books that match her tastes, the kind you can't buy with money. Meanwhile, Rudd checks all the student records but can't find anyone named Aesir Dinardos. Now he understands that if Aesir isn't in this world, it's because of the Dragon King Void, Dragon Sartnin. The Dragon King controls dimensions and voids and disappeared with Aesir's body during the last subjugation before his regression. This suggests Aesir might still be alive in another dimension. Suddenly, he hears Henneth arguing with the librarian about borrowing 17 books. The librarian insists they can only borrow 3 at a time and tells them to head to their classroom for a lecture. Rudd leaves Henneth and rushes to class. When he arrives, someone asks if he found the person he was looking for, but Rudd sadly replies that the name wasn't on the list. Then, Daniel Gold, the instructor responsible for teaching basic combat this year, enters the classroom. He encourages the students, saying that with hard work and a bit of talent, they can achieve remarkable things. Rudd wonders what Mr. Gold means by a bit of talent. He remembers how desperate and ashamed he felt to gain that tiny bit of talent. Daniel believes that his brief introduction is sufficient for their 4-tier stay at the academy. He urges them to give their best effort and avoid any regrets. The Dragon Slayer, as its name suggests, is the one who defeats dragons. In every battle, stamina is crucial. There are free training areas nearby where they can build up their stamina. Rudd heads to the training room he used to frequent as a child. He wants to test if he still possesses the same stamina. After some training, exhaustion sets in, and he starts to doubt his abilities. But he's just 17 years old, so he shouldn't be too hard on himself. Combat classes start tomorrow, and he has only 1 week before the sparring class. To avoid repeating his past mistakes, he must do better this time. Suddenly he spots a familiar figure, another ally from his past life, Balak Steros. Balak is a physical combatant who will later earn the title of Fist King. They didn't meet in his previous life, as Rudd usually went to a different training room. This time, difference might explain the meeting. Initially, Rudd considers ignoring him, as there seems to be no need for interaction. However, Balak's persistent stares irritate him, and he finally asks if Balak wants to pick a fight. Balak explains that he's just admiring Rudd's perfect postures, and that no one in his family, not even his father, showed him such flawless movements. They introduce themselves, and Balak offers to treat Rudd as his workout mentor. Rudd declines, saying he can't teach him. The next day, Daniel takes all the students to a training ground and asks them to choose a weapon of their choice. Henneth, who aims to become a wizard, wonders if she should pick a weapon. Daniel responds that real battles can happen unexpectedly, so it's important for her to learn how to protect herself, even as a wizard. Rudd suggests that she should choose a short dagger to control the blade's attack radius with her mana. It's small and easy to carry. In the past, Henneth was pretty good with daggers, using them to save up mana, or in sudden close combat situations. Rudd takes out his sword and swings it in the air. Daniel watches him from behind, surprised by his skill. It's not what you'd expect from an ordinary student. Rudd approaches Daniel and asks if he can use multiple weapons. Daniel explains that it's usually better to focus on one weapon, but if he's interested in different ones, he can have them. Rudd decides to go for a sword, a spear, and a big sword, declaring that he'll use them all. Daniel is impressed and curious about Rudd's background. Rudd reveals that he used to work as a mercenary to survive and tragically lost his family to a dragon. Suddenly, a commotion erupts nearby. Balak is in a heated fight with another student over a weapon. He's so skilled in physical combat that he doesn't need a weapon, and he proudly declares that the Stereo's family fighters don't use them. The other students watch in silence. Balak notices Rudd and rushes over, ignoring Henneth's questions about their relationship. Daniel intervenes, telling Balak he can't go to his friend when the professor is talking to him. Balak insists they aren't friends but have a deeper master-student connection. Rudd steps in, asserting that they are friends, but Daniel tries to persuade Balak to choose a weapon since they're in the middle of training. Rudd thinks they'll just let Balak be, as it happened in his past life. However, he's shocked when Daniel threatens that Balak might have to repeat the year, suggesting that the past has changed. Rudd realizes that his involvement might be causing this change, and worries that if Balak fails here, it could complicate things for the force that will face the future Dragon King. Balak offers to accept failure humbly, but Daniel tells him to be quiet, and asks the professor if he can make an exception. The professor refuses, saying it wouldn't be fair to others. Desperate to help Balak, Rudd suggests a pair of gauntlets as a weapon that might suit him. Balak initially refuses, emphasizing that warriors from the Steros family don't use weapons. However, Rudd insists, asking Balak to accept it as a gift from a friend. He agrees immediately, in the name of a friend, and Daniel says they'll call it a uniquely designed gauntlet. It's said that the first week in an air academy is the time for new students to adjust, but it's also when professors learn the students' abilities and scout them. Rudd has done enough to catch their attention and earn a recommendation, so he wants to spend the rest of this time preparing himself for the sparring class. But he wonders why they're both naturally grouping themselves with him. What will happen next? Find out next time by staying tuned for our future recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great recaps.